Most people think having no friends means something is wrong with you. They're completely wrong. The people with the smallest circles are often the most self-aware, the most emotionally intelligent, and honestly, the hardest to manipulate. And if your circle is small, this video is going to explain a lot about yourself that nobody ever told you. Society treats loneliness like a personal failure. Like, if you don't have a big group around you, you didn't pass some invisible test. But psychology tells a completely different story. There are specific traits that show up in people with small or no friend circles, almost every single time. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Here are 5. See how many feel like you. You can read people almost instantly, and it exhausts you. You walk into a room and within minutes you already know who's being fake, who's laughing a little too hard, who says one thing but their body is saying something else entirely. Most people can ignore that. You can't turn it off, so when everyone around you is doing surface-level small talk, you go quiet. Not because you're shy, because you're processing, and people can feel that energy. It makes them uncomfortable without them knowing why. But here's the thing. That same ability that makes socializing draining, it also means you rarely get played. You catch red flags before they become problems. You protect yourself from bad people automatically. That's not a flaw. That's actually a form of intelligence most people spend years trying to develop. You need silence to recover, and the world makes you feel guilty for it. After spending time around people, even people you like, you come home and you just need quiet. Not music, not TV, just stillness. And at some point, someone made you feel like that was weird, like needing alone time meant you were broken or antisocial. But there's real psychology behind this. Some people's nervous systems burn significantly more energy during social interaction. Every conversation costs something. Every room you walk into, you're reading people, processing energy, picking up on things others don't even notice. Of course, you need to recharge. The problem was never that you needed silence. The problem was that nobody told you it was okay. You would rather feel lonely alone than feel lonely in a room full of people. This is the one most people have never heard put this way, but the moment you hear it, you know exactly what it means. There is a specific kind of loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people and still feeling completely invisible. From laughing at the right moments, nodding along, performing, and going home feeling more empty than when you left. You felt that, and at some point, you made a quiet decision. You chose the loneliness you could control over the one that blindsided you. That's not a weakness. That's self-preservation. And it takes more courage than most people realize. You're in a building phase, and it's quietly changing who you are. You've been saying no to things lately. The plans, the group chats, the invitations. Not because you stopped caring about people, but because something in you is locked in on something bigger. Neuroscience explains this. Deep focus and socializing literally use opposite brain networks. When one is on, the other is off. You can't fully be in both at the same time, so if your social life has gotten smaller while you've been growing, that's not a coincidence. That's what transformation looks like from the inside. It feels like isolation. But isolation and growth feel almost identical until you come out the other side. You don't need people to feel okay, and that quietly unsettles them. You know how to sit with yourself, how to be alone on a Friday night and genuinely be fine. And that is rarer than it sounds. Most people will stay in friendships that drain them, laugh at jokes they don't find funny, and shrink themselves just to keep someone around, because the alternative, being alone, terrifies them. You don't have that fear. And here's what nobody talks about. People who are deeply dependent on others for validation feel uncomfortable around someone who isn't. Your self-sufficiency reads like judgment to them, even when you're just quietly existing. You're not cold. You're not arrogant. You've just done the work of being okay with yourself. And in a world where most people are still running from that, that makes you someone they don't quite know how to handle. So here's what I want you to actually take from this. Your small circle is not a problem to fix. It's not a sign that you failed at being human. It's information about who you are and the kind of connection you actually need. You're not hard to love. You're just not willing to fake it to feel less alone. And honestly, that's one of the most underrated forms of self-respect a person can have. If this felt like it was describing you, you belong here. Subscribe to the channel. Because on this channel, we don't just talk about psychology. We help you understand yourself. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. I'll see you in the next one.